gives Brown the last two bouts by pin and by decision. And it's a 9-5 lead as we approach the match that I think Harvard will feel best about. 8th-ranked Phil Conigliaro, who has not lost in a duel this season, up against Jonathan Conrad of the Bears. Conigliaro, second on the team in wins, second to only Diego Sotelo, who we don't expect to see at 125. He was listed as an or, but Isaiah Adams was the individual who came out to shook hands at the center of the mat in pregame. But Conigliaro, big, strong, and almost impossible, in fact has been impossible to knock off so far in dual meet season. Conigliaro enters 18-1. His only loss was by decision early in the season in one of the opens, but he is expected to make a lot of noise in the conference championships in just a couple of weeks out at Bucknell, and certainly is going to be a wrestler to watch and likely seeded depending on how he goes at the national championship level. Currently ranked, as I said, 8th according to WrestleStat, and the stats do not lie as well. And he is looking for that takedown. Conrad in trouble, loses his left foot, trying to keep his right foot down, and that's a good escape. No control. Conrad out toward that right side of the mat. Can he get him back in? They're going to say he's out. Oh, and this is interesting. I think we're going to see a challenge brick here. Can already see Brown head coach Jordan Lean getting ready to throw the challenge brick. He's waiting, and they're not going to give a takedown, so Lean doesn't have to use the brick. You see Coach Lean there. Had a chance to talk to him a few weeks ago, and likes the way his team has improved week over week throughout the season, and now we could have a challenge the other way. So again, the decision on the mat was that they were out of bounds, no takedown. Now do we see Harvard use the challenge brick? No. So it remains scoreless. Jonathan Conrad, sophomore from Tampa. We have a couple of Tampa wrestlers here in this duel, going up against Phil Conigliaro from not too far away from here in Dedham, Massachusetts, a little bit west of Boston. And Conrad just trying to hold as firm as he can. Conrad on the season, 12-14. Has done the vast bulk of his collegiate wrestling this season. But certainly toughest task that he has had so far this season, going up against the number 8th ranked wrestler in his weight class. But so far he's held firm. 2 minutes gone. We had one strong escape where, again, had that leg locked but was able to keep the other one and then slip away. But Conigliaro is just going to keep coming at you. And he knows that his team needs this. The upper weight classes for both teams, 184 through 285, are where the teams have had their struggles at times, which means that it really is anyone's matchup for the next three before we get toward 125. That Joyce against likely Isaiah Adams matchup could be a lot of interesting wrestling, especially if Sotelo isn't the one to go and it is Adams. Adrian and Nogel at 133 is probably my second highlight matchup of the day, as you see the takedown by Conigliaro, finally getting those first 3 points. But Saito and Harrington and Adrian and Nogel were my two most intriguing matchups in terms of I really didn't know which way it could go. I was excited to see Rothrock against Kim. Didn't necessarily expect Rothrock to pull off the upset, but sure enough, he did. And after one period here at 174, it's 3-0 Phil Conigliaro. Between the two this season, a couple of shared opponents as we get to the tail end of conference play. But when you look at the two, Phil Conigliaro is 10-4 against common opponents between these two wrestlers, as Conigliaro will escape to start this second period, taking a 4-0 lead. Highest ranked wrestler that the two of these have faced is Nick Incontrera, and that was biggest matchup of the season so far for Conigliaro is in Contrera of the Penn Quakers. Faced them a couple weeks ago and won in a tight one, 4-2 by decision. In Contrera, major decision victory over Conrad, 16-2 back on February the 3rd. Two of these also faced off against Lennox Wolak last weekend against Columbia. Conrad falling by a pin at 226, and Conigliaro taking care of Wolak in what was a really testy bout between the two of them. Things got physical. Wolak and Conigliaro, there was a little bit of a separation at the end where one threw the other off, and nobody was too pleased with it, but it ended up being a 7-2 decision in favor of Conigliaro. Two of them tied up in the center, 40 seconds to go. So far, riding time not a factor, just 3 seconds between the two. Conrad trying to throw off those legs and trying to get back up toward that standing position, and now wrapping up that left leg of Conigliaro, and then he gets his left leg hoisted over his back. Now Conrad has to try and get that left leg back down to earth, otherwise he's going to be betrayed by gravity. Now gets for that left ankle lock. 10 seconds left, short time, stalemate. 4-0. Phil Conigliaro with the takedown at the tail end of the first period, the escape point early here in the second. And I don't expect to see anything else in these final 3 seconds. So Conrad holding his own through these first 2 periods, but still trails 4-0. He will choose bottom in the third, and you can't blame him, knowing if he gets an escape point, he's still within a takedown of tying things up. Overall match score 9-5 in favor of Brown. It's 4-0 Harvard here at 174. Conrad looking to stand up. He'll get the escape point as Conigliaro lets him go. And now Conrad is within a single takedown of tying up this match. Easier said than done against the number 8 wrestler in the country at 174. Conigliaro goes for that sweep leg. Conrad able to avoid it. Conrad goes back down, and now Conrad has his left ankle held. Conigliaro looking to get to his feet, trying to turn, and Conrad, he's done a good job. That's not the first time in this bout that he's been able to just wriggle free of Conigliaro, who does have the lone takedown, but this has not been a dominant performance yet. But there's still a minute left, and Conigliaro has a chance right here. Conrad able to turn out of it. It is a takedown as Conigliaro maintains control. So it's 7-1, and now we look at the difference between major decision and regular decision. A regular decision would tie this bout up at 9 between Brown and Harvard, as that is a big escape point by Conrad. So Conigliaro, if he gets a takedown, we'd be in major decision territory. That's why he wasn't so hesitant, or that's why he was a little bit, or losing my words, that's why he was okay with letting the escape point happen, because he gets the takedown, and now we're looking at major decision. It's 10-2 with 18 seconds left in it. You hear Coach Lean, he's begging his wrestler to get up. An escape point could potentially loom large over this one. They're out of bounds. Conrad getting some coaching, but at 10-2, we are looking at the difference between a major decision, which would make this 9-9, and just a regular decision, which would keep Brown up by 1. I don't see Conrad getting up here. Final 2 seconds, and that will do it. So Conigliaro gets 3 takedowns in the bout, and he wins this one by a final score of 10-2, major decision. And so he will take 4 points, and that means that through 4, we are all square at 9 apiece. We'll take another break. 184 and 197 coming up on the other side. You're watching the Ivy League on ESPN+.